All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys being with us. He joins us each and every week at this time. So, voice of the Auburn Tigers, thanks to our friends at Craneworks, it's Andy Burcham.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, Rentalworks, yeah! The big dog's got it.
The voice of the Auburn Tigers, Andy Burcham, on Mac and Cube in the morning is brought to you by Craneworks. Lifted, buy and rented, the big dog's got it. Now, Andy Burcham.
Andy, always great to have you in on a Tuesday morning. Late tip for you guys tonight. What do you anticipate to be different about Stephen Pearl's team tonight in the NIT against South Alabama from a roster perspective, minute perspective, lineup perspective, depth perspective, anything along those lines of just how things might be managed in a little bit of a different way?
That's a good question. We'll find out together tonight. He was asked yesterday just about players and opting out and that type of thing. He had not received any word from anybody at that point that it would be any different tonight. So I wouldn't expect it to be any different tonight as Auburn gets set to face South Alabama, as you mentioned, light game. 9 o'clock game tonight here at Neville Arena. We'll be on the air tonight at 8:30 on the Auburn Sports Network.
What do you think has been kind of the rallying cry for Stephen Pearl? The disappointment of missing the tournament is real, but I think it was kind of expected. How do you think he's kind of gotten the guys going the last couple days?
Yeah, that's a good one because there's no question. I mean, Auburn is disappointed not to be in the NCAA tournament. There's no question about that. That's what Auburn expects to be year in and year out. I do think, though, Auburn likes the idea, the opportunity to be able to play, to be able to compete in the NIT. And I know several teams have opted out. Auburn decided it did not want to. Stephen Pearl mentioned yesterday, it's an opportunity for Auburn to compete in the NIT. Auburn, the number 1 seed in the NIT. And if Auburn's going to play in it, they want to win it at this point. And I liked how Auburn improved from a defensive standpoint in the SEC tournament in both games against Mississippi State. And for 30 minutes of the Tennessee game, Auburn played improved defense, much improved defense in those 2 ball games than it had going into the SEC tournament. And that needs to continue tonight against the South Alabama ball club that also plays very well defensively. I mean, its opponents are averaging only 75 points a game. They will play zone all night long, we expect, against Auburn. They will do everything they can to keep Auburn out of the lane tonight. Auburn, as we know, likes to get to the basket, so it's going to be very interesting to see which prevails in this ball game tonight.
Well, what does Auburn need to do defensively? Give us sort of the scouting report on the South Alabama offense of what could be maybe the biggest concern tonight.
South Alabama features the Sun Belt Player of the Year, Chase Harris, who transferred in from Shawnee State, an NAIA school. He led the Sun Belt in scoring at nearly 19 points a ball game. He is not a three-point shooter, however, which is odd. But a guy that will get to the rim, a good 2-point shooter, is also their point guard, averaging 4.9 assists. He leads the team in almost 5 assists per ball game. So this guy is a facilitator for South. South does a really good job of keeping teams off the free throw line. They're among the best in the country. As a matter of fact, 3rd in the country, allowing just 12.7 fouls per ball game. So and South Alabama takes care of the basketball. They're 3rd in the country, averaging only 8.1 turnovers a ball game. So it is not an explosive offense that Auburn faces tonight, but it is a very controlled, precise offense that Auburn faces tonight. Auburn will be bigger than South Alabama tonight. I think Auburn needs to control the boards in this game tonight against South Alabama. South does have a couple really good three-point shooters. Adam Olson, Jr. out of Surrey, British Columbia, with 102 made threes this season out of 258 attempts. So if he's on the floor and number 12 has the ball, you better be guarding him because he's going to be shooting the three tonight.
When you look at playing against a team like this that will obviously be hungry, that will obviously be excited to play an in-state opponent, be excited to have the opportunity to play more games and go chase a title, how important is the start to this game for Auburn?
Well, it's been important for Auburn for a while, Greg, and until the Mississippi State game, Auburn had struggled getting off to a good start. I thought Auburn got off to a good start in both games of the SEC tournament. And I think getting off to a good start is very important tonight to get the crowd going into the ball game as well. It's a 9 o'clock start. It's a late night start, we know. And there's no question, I think, that South Alabama is going to come in here with the hair on fire. I mean, it's a chance to come to Auburn. It's a chance to beat an in-state school. So South has nothing to lose in this ball game tonight. Auburn, I think, is the heavy favorite in this one tonight. But South comes in, and I think South will come in with they will come in and they're going to be gunning for one of the SEC in-state schools. I'm not surprised that Auburn gets to South Alabama in this round tonight. Auburn, the winner of this game, faces either Seattle or St. Thomas of Minnesota in the second round this weekend. But you can't look past tonight as Auburn gets South Alabama. The last two ball games that Auburn has faced South Alabama, which it's been a while, well, that's 7 years ago, Auburn won at South on a buzzer beater by Isaac Okoro. And then South came to Auburn in the COVID year in 2020, and Auburn won 90-81 on a day where Auburn hit 22 threes in that game and set a school record in that ball game. So the games between Auburn and South, although they've not been recent, have been close ones.
Andy Burcham joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. He's with us each and every week, thanks to our friends at Craneworks. Auburn football gets started today, spring practice, and we were talking about some of the continuity offensively with guys that are going to be carryover guys from South Florida. They have been with Coach Goles, know his system, know his terminology, know the expectation more than anything else. How important do you view that, not only heading into spring practice, but just for the entire season?
Well, I think it's very important, and it's an interesting wrinkle on what is a very new roster at Auburn. It's a new roster to Auburn. It's not necessarily a completely new roster to Alex Golesh because of the 13 players that played at South Florida last year that will be playing for Auburn, including his quarterback and his center. He's got receivers out there. He's got a tailback offensively. And so that's an interesting wrinkle. I think that gives Auburn, I think that gives Alex Golesh and his offense a leg up rather than it being almost a completely brand new offense or brand new as far as personnel is concerned. It will be for Auburn, it will be a new offensive line than it was a year ago. But a couple of these guys have been in this system, albeit at South Florida, and come to Auburn right now. And talking with Byron Brown at a couple of events that he was with, Coach Golesh and Cody Burns, in asking him about the guys that came from South Florida to Auburn, the first guy he talks about is his center, Cole Best. I mean, that's the first guy he talks about. It's the guy that he's familiar with. It's the guy that Cole, as you know this, is calling the signals up front. I think that gives Auburn a little bit of comfort in that, although it's new to Auburn and new to the SEC, this is a guy that certainly knows the Auburn, what is now the Auburn offensive system.
How would you kind of anticipate the defense coming along when repping against an offense that wants to play with such pace? Because Cole and I we loved the defense last year. I think it's hard to anticipate the defense being exactly the same statistically as they were a year ago. So how do you think the defense will adjust to this new style of offensive attack that they're going to face every day?
Yeah, we'll find out because they're getting ready to practice here in about, I guess, a little over under an hour, as a matter of fact. I think we'll just find that out. I mean, Auburn, while you bring a lot back from a defense under DJ Durkin, you're going to have new corners. You're going to have new rush ends. A lot of the guys in the middle up front are back. A lot of your linebackers are back, and you've added to both of those spots with the transfer portal. So we will learn together. But yeah, the pace of this is going to be different than it was under Hugh Freeze with Alex Golish and Joe Gordon as the offensive coordinator and the quarterback coach. So it's going to be very interesting to see. And how this defense. I just think this is one of Auburn's most important spring practices in a long, long time, because of all the new, because of the new staff, because you're trying to turn things around from some disappointing years in Auburn football, and I think this is another step in that direction for this Auburn football team.
What part of this team that has been added, outside of, say, a Byron Brown, guys that a lot of people are talking about, are you maybe most excited about, anxious to see how it plays out, how they perform for Alex Golish?
Well, I think it's the guys up front, Cole. It's where you played at Auburn. It's that offensive line, and exactly how that occurs, I'm not certain at this point, other than the guy in the middle. But listen, we're all excited to see what Byron Brown does and the potential that he has at the quarterback spot for Auburn, and the physical nature that he plays with, not only in the run game, but how well he throws the football in this offense. I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see some of these guys that are in from South Florida that he has thrown to in the past. What is the role of the tight end in this offense? I mean, Alex Golish, through much of his career as an assistant coach, was a tight ends coach. I think that's very important to him. So that I want to see. I want to see how Auburn, on the other side of the ball, replaces the guys on the rush ends, because Auburn loses a lot, or lost a lot, to the NFL draft, I believe, on the edges defensively. So that, to me, that spot, the cornerback spot on the defense, and then up front for Auburn offensively. And listen, I've said that for a long, long time when we've talked on this show about Auburn up front. And I'm hoping that this offense, rolls into form for this ball club, and especially up front.
What's funny is I don't feel like I've heard much from Alex Golish. I mean, I just thought, he'd kind of be brash. He'd be out there and rolling, but it's been a little bit more low key. It's been a little more under the radar. Is that intentional from your standpoint?
I don't know that, Greg. I've spent some time with him, and I can't completely answer your question as to why perhaps he has not, or maybe this is what Alex Golish is. We're kind of learning about he and this staff as it goes through. They're out of the winter workouts. And now into the spring that starts here in a little bit, but I think he's learning about this ball club as well, learning what he has with this ball club. And I think that's one of the reasons, in my mind, that this is a very, very important spring practice for this Auburn football team. As far as his demeanor, he's kind of been the guy that we saw when he came to campus at that press conference at the end of November. These guys have worked. Listen, when they came to campus, they were learning how many guys were going to be here, how many guys were transferring, how many guys they were going to need to get in the transfer portal. They needed to put a staff together. They kind of put their head down and went to work. And now they have the opportunity to get out there and coach full bore in this spring practice. And of course, it ends up with the A-Day game on April 18th over at Jordan-Hare Stadium.
Andy, we always appreciate the time.
I don't think.
Go ahead.
I don't think he lacks for confidence, Alex Golish. I don't think he lacks confidence in how hard he works, how hard this staff works, and the direction of this football team at this point.
No, actually, I was just going to follow up on it after we let you go, because I think I have a good and accurate answer, and I just think he's been working, and I think he's done some interviews, he's talked to some people, but I think he understands what needs to be done, and a lot of that's not in the public eye. I also don't think necessarily trying to ruffle feathers or hype the program. I don't think that's his personality, really. I think he wants his work to speak for itself. It's just kind of not what he is. And I realize there's a lot of that in college football now, a lot of that in college sports now, but that's not who he is. So that would be my answer to it. But nonetheless, Andy, we appreciate you joining us every Tuesday, and we know each and every week you're brought to us by Craneworks.
And Rental Works offers a full line of rental equipment for any of your machinery needs. They also offer operators in every type of equipment as well. They can supply the equipment you need plus the man to do the job. Go to craneworks.com for a quote in Birmingham, Nashville, Mobile, and Huntsville. On the air tonight at 8:30 for Auburn, South Alabama, first round of the NIT, guys. Hope you have a great day.
Are you gonna get a nap in today?
Possible.
I mean,
very,
I would.
Very possible.
If I had a 9 p.m. tip, I'd have to get a nap in. So I think you should. Thanks, Andy.
All right, guys. Y'all take care. Have a great day.
Andy Burcham joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Thanks to Craneworks. Let's have that Alex Goles conversation. Continue our conversation on dominant players in the SEC. How many were there? What if we went past the Southeastern Conference? We can have that conversation as well. Also, David Richman, North Dakota State's head basketball coach, who's in the NCAA tournament. He's joining us in about 14 minutes. Keep it locked right here on Jogs. It was an interesting thought that you had on Alex Goles, because I actually actually kind of appreciate, Greg, that we haven't heard a ton from him.
Yeah,
I've seen some interviews he's
been
done.
Quiet though,
and I do think that should signal to Auburn fans positivity, and maybe because I've had multiple conversations with him, and I know a little bit about what he's doing, and I spent some time with him, not necessarily on our show, on a podcast, whatever it is. And I know what he's trying to round up. I know what he's trying to accomplish, what he's trying to do. And I understand that a lot of it's not football right now, and getting the staff together, getting people on the same page, learning the roster, learning the guys, talking to boosters, talking to people about trying to be able to have enough to put a roster together, getting extra money to put the kind of roster together that he's going to need to try to go win football games, managing guys that want to leave, that don't want to leave, trying to keep guys on the roster. I've had those conversations with him. So I don't think it should signal to anyone that maybe it hasn't been as loud, as brash, as confident publicly as some might think. I think it signals that he's here to work. He's trying to get that done, and he's going to do whatever it takes to get it done.
for sure.
I think it's an absolute positive. I do think you'll hear more from him once spring ball begins, because obviously then he'll have to talk about football some, and he'll want to talk football some. But I think we've seen those examples of guys who come in and social media and press conferences and quotes on the wall, and we've gotten a lot of that from a lot of guys.
Yes.
I think there are a lot of people in college football that realize we don't need that junk anymore. I think there's a lot of Auburn fans that realize we don't want or need that junk anymore.
All is totally fair. All is completely and 100% reasonable. What I'm getting at, though, is it does feel abnormal given the modern times in the sport. Sometimes people come in, go guns a-blazing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there have been some more understated approaches to taking over a job like this. I mean, we haven't have much have we heard from Kyle Whittingham?
About none.
About zero?
Hey, and by the way, the part you're referencing that Golis hasn't been has also been proven that it's effective, because what did Kurt Cignetti do when he got the job?
He came out and
He emptied every clip he had.
Purdue stinks, and these guys stink, and
Whole
Ohio
Big
State
Ten's
stinks.
terrible.
Everybody's terrible. We're going to come
win
in and
championships.
roll everybody.
We literally laughed at him.
I mean,
we pointed our fingers and we laughed at him.
It's just very different. Like, I feel like now you almost have to kind of go and control the narrative on your own in the court of public opinion. It's just, it doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong. It just makes it a little bit different. Some of the coaches in this cycle have gone about it a little differently. Like, I've heard way more from John Summerall than I have from Golish. And that's living down the street from Golish. You know what I mean? It's not a negative. I don't view it as a negative at all. It's just been kind of quiet.
It has. And I do think that I got to be careful with this, because I don't want this to be misconstrued at all. I don't think their level of confidence is any different at all. But I do think John Summerall is a little more comfortable being a little bit more outspoken publicly. That's just a little bit more his personality.
Fair.
I think, and it's not, and again, when I say this, I don't want it to be misconstrued that I have any sort of questions about John Summerall's work ethic.
No one's questioning it
at all. I think Alex Golish is a little bit more of, okay, I'll pack my expletive up and go get something done.
Yeah.
And doesn't always need to tell you about it, just wants to go do it.
Right.
And John Summerall, not afraid to publicly tell you what he's about to do. And thinks he can get it done at the same time.
Yeah, but
it's a little bit difference in personality.
Then it doesn't make one right or wrong. It's
100%.
not. It's just an observation.
Yeah.
That's to me.
I think it's an interesting observation. That's why I want to keep talking about it, because I don't know where Auburn fans are on it. I don't know if they, man, I wish I heard more, or I feel great about this, or is it a giant question mark? I don't know. I'll tell you all this. I have a ton of confidence in him. I think he's going to do better than people think this year. That does not mean 10, 11 wins knocking on the door of the playoff. But I'll say this, Greg, what is the expectation for Auburn fans right now? I really don't know.
No telling.
Because the majority of Auburn fans I speak to in public or in private, or that approach me and ask me, it's almost just open-ended question of, what do I think?
Fair.
I'm sure you get similar, like, what do you think Auburn's going to be this year?
I get questions about
Auburn.
Really I get questions about Auburn 10 times more than I get questions about Alabama.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just a giant question mark for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a huge question mark. And it does not mean that you don't have confidence if you're not out there telling everybody how great you are. That's not the case. It's just there's different approaches. And I think with Auburn, there's a lot to be excited about. Because one, I don't feel like they were that far away last year. Yeah, there's a lot of turnover. I think there a jolt to the offense, a jolt to the system. I think Golish has the right type of chip on the shoulder mentality that aligns with Auburn. Like I think that's good. I think he's a good coach for what I think his personality fits Auburn. You know what I'm saying? Like it fits. Like he's kind of mad at the world. He's kind of wants to go scorched earth. He wants to prove everybody like he belongs. Like I think it's a good personality fit. And that's helpful. Like I think some places are different. Like you come in with a chip on the shoulder mentality at Alabama, it's a little different. Like you're not going to be as well received. Like we've talked about this a million times. Like some places have a tremendous superiority complex. Some places are constantly trying to grind and find their way up. Like I think finding the right guy that fits the right place is beneficial, and I do think Auburn's done that. But I do find it interesting with where things have gone in the court of public opinion from a social media standpoint, branding standpoint, all this other stuff. I know money talks. That's ultimately the thing that moves the needle the most now. But it's just been for having as much turnover as they've had, new coach, new staff, it's just been a very quiet offseason, relatively speaking. So I can't wait for them to take the practice field so we can get a little bit more of a sense about what they might be.
Yeah. It's going to be fun to get through spring ball to sort of hear a little bit more from him and hear him talk a little bit more about football, because that's also part of this. When you're a new hire in the SEC, not a lot of people's questions are about football. And I think he'll enjoy talking football a little bit more, so we'll probably see more of his personality. We'll see him actually loosen up a little bit to be able to discuss those kind of things. Before we move on to talk a little bit more NCAA tournament, tell our listeners about Bromberg's.
Well, Bromberg's been my go-to for a very long time. I think you guys will understand why the second you walk in the door. First of all, the diamonds are off the charts. I mean, just if you're shopping for diamonds in Birmingham, you really only need to remember one name, and that's Bromberg's. Whether it's the perfect engagement ring, diamond stud earrings that she wears every day. I mean, literally every day. Or just a stunning anniversary gift, or just something to be thoughtful. Birmingham's best diamonds come from Bromberg's. They've been helping families celebrate life's biggest moments for over 190 years. So when it's time to give a gift that truly sparkles, ask yourself, wouldn't she rather it come from Bromberg's? Visit Bromberg's in Mountain Brook or at the Summit.
All right, when we come back, we've got David Richman, North Dakota State head basketball coach, his team in the NCAA tournament. We discuss it next right here on Jocks. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Excited to have David Richman on, head coach of the North Dakota State Bison basketball team, who are going to be in the NCAA tournament. Coach, nothing like going up against a Michigan State squad led by Tom Izzo, who's been a top 3 seed for the 14th time. I know your team is up for the challenge. What does this version of his Michigan State Spartans pose that has your attention?
I don't think, gentlemen, appreciate you guys having us on too, first and foremost. This version, I think the biggest compliment is very similar to the other versions. There's a standard in the NCAA tournaments, and in one of those fixtures and one of those standards is Tom Izzo and Michigan State, the Spartans, and you throw them on, it's pretty easy to see, why they're successful. They got some big, physical, strong, tough dudes. And they play their tails off. Somebody said it to me a long time ago, too. One of the biggest compliments you can give somebody is, hey, love what you do, absolutely nothing. And I say that with the utmost, respect. They're not trying to trick you. They're going to play extremely fast in transition. They're going to be extremely physical with you defensively, and they're elite on the backboards. And for us to give ourselves a chance down the stretch, we got to match that.
Looking at how they play, I got to see them actually earlier in the year in person at Madison Square Garden, and it's like a football game. It reminds me of watching your football team at NDSU. Frankly, it's like they want to make it a bloodbath. How do you match that physicality when you're going into a do or die situation?
Yeah, that's exactly it. We can't just match it. We got to be better than it in certain circumstances. And the challenge for us is, how we simulate things, Greg, is not going to be Michigan State. But we have to ramp it up in our understanding, and as a coach, is to make things even more challenging than we have in practices, and keeping big bodies on big bodies as much as we can. But the bottom line is we know we're not going to be perfect throughout this thing, but we just got to figure out ways to get better and better. And based on past experiences and the tournament and games like this, there's going to be an adjustment period. Those first 8 to 12 minutes of us figuring out, just how big, how physical they are, and then adjusting to how the game's going to be called and how the game's going to be played, and then settling in. Now, that being said, we're talking a lot about Michigan State. I like our group. And, we program record 27 games, and the biggest compliment that I can give our guys is we got a superpower, and that's that we believe. We're fearless, and we're going to take that, belief and fearlessness and put it on the national stage.
Well, it's amazing. I mean, it's not like NDSU's a stranger to the tournament. I mean, been there a bunch. You referenced the school record with 27 wins. And it seems like when you guys get going from beyond the arc, it's anybody's ball game. So how do you lean into your ability to kind of score from the perimeter to try to create, possession and a half and the analytics and things like that to work it in your favor?
Yeah, we build our program, probably a lot like Alabama football. Like you got to block, tackle, and you can't get penalties. And it's the fundamentals, it's the basics. And so you look at our conference tournament, we held all 3 opponents under 1 point per possession defensively. We were able to compete and in the grand scheme of things, be pretty damn elite on the backboards, and we did a pretty good job of taking care of the basketball. And the identity of us is being those three things: defending, rebounding, and taking care of the basketball. What we've been able to do this year is force you into some tougher shots. We've forced you into some turnovers, and then when our defense is leading to our offense, that's when we're at our best. When we're playing in the open floor in our space, but then we've got we've got multiple guys on the floor. And at the end of the day, this is a guards game, but we got multiple guys on the floor that can pass, catch, shoot it, and make great decisions. And in a day and age where there is a lot of selfishness in college athletics, this group, to their credit, and I've said it a bunch locally, is they've prioritized winning. And I know that might sound like a stupid comment, but it's not. And I say that loud. I bang the table because at the end of the day, the selflessness and the versatility that we have and the multiple guys that we've had lead us in scoring throughout the season is a big reason why we are where we're at. And, my level of gratitude and appreciation for our guys and continuously making the right plays is a big part of why we're at.
We are visiting with North Dakota State head basketball coach David Richman. You mentioned that offense, how it can get going, how you've built your program. A lot of times when you guys are thrust into the spotlight, different aspects of a program begin to show up. You have a student manager, Jake Peters, that brings something a little bit different, gives you something a little extra. Can you just give our listeners a little insight into what he does for your program?
Now you guys are getting to it, right? This is why I love the game of basketball. Make no mistake, gentlemen, and the platform to that gives me a purpose to wake up every day and to serve and to compete and being around the atmosphere of college athletics is like it's what it's all about. But Jake Peters is the ultimate perspective, gentlemen. Jake is a young man, for those that don't know, that has Down syndrome, and I think we make the mistake of thinking we got things tough. And Jake could have a pity party every day. He doesn't. There's 0 bad days for Jake Peters, and he's at a local high school, and you saw him, like his I believe his Instagram handle is the hype man, and he just brings the ultimate energy. And we talk about 4 things on a daily basis: compete, have fun, listen, and serve. And the serve is the last one. It's in capital letters. And the ultimate thing for me is how can we make others around us better? And as you do those things, great things are going to happen to us. And when the big deal, as you're going through these tournaments, you're seeing the slap of the sticker on the brackets, and then you're seeing the slap of the sticker in these conference tournaments. And 2 times after the semifinal win, and then the big one, after our championship win, Jake Peters is slapping that sticker on there, and that's awesome. But what defines our program is the joy, the smiles, the emotion on our guys' face, because they're so happy for Jake to be able to do those things. And like, you guys have done your homework. I appreciate that. Jake Peters is a big part of Bison basketball.
I wanted to go back to, Coach, to something that you referenced a little bit earlier. David Richman, North Dakota State head basketball coach, joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You mentioned built your program. You essentially are a lifer at North Dakota State. Now, you had about a 2-year stint at North Dakota State College of Science, and then that led you to North Dakota State. Does that make it easier, simpler to sort of keep the foundation of the program, rebuild portions of it every year? Does it make it more difficult? Does it kind of take us inside your journey and what that does for you, sort of molding a new basketball team each and every year?
Yeah, I probably don't have a great answer for you, because this is what I know. And in NDSU, why mess with happiness? And do we end up at NDSU? And is it a great spot? Yes. Do we end up here forever? I don't know. Those things all take care of themselves. But I've always prided myself in our program and being extremely present. What happened? How can we learn from that? And how do we prepare for what's next? And the only way you're going to do those things is be present. And a lot of things have changed, but what I love is you look at the Kelvin Sampsons of the world. I think that one of the coolest things that nobody's talking about is in 2020, Kelvin Sampson, or in 2000, Kelvin Sampson won Coach of the Year. 25 years later, he won Coach of the Year again. In 2014, 15, we went to the NCAA tournament. 11, 12 years later, we're going to the NCAA tournament. There's a lot of foundational things and standards that have not changed. How you get to there changed a little bit, but it's about having the right people. It's about listening to those people around you, and then it's about holding them accountable. And just had another conversation over some beers last night with some donors and administration. Like, the kids get too much blame, gentlemen. Like, the kids have not changed. We've stopped parenting our kids. We stopped coaching our players. But we're not scared to do those things. And when you do those things, great things can happen, and we're going to continue to maintain that standard every day.
It's the videos are just amazing. They're truly incredible. And you were recently named, a finalist for the Hugh Durham Award, which I was unfamiliar with, but did some due diligence. It's like, man, that's a pretty big honor to be considered, the top mid-major coach in college football. They're in college basketball, excuse me. But when you think about the challenges, we've heard so many people. We heard a coach last week talk about another Power 4 program sent a person to a game to scout a player and then tamper. How much harder is it now to continue to sustain excellence at a mid-major program nowadays? Is it harder than ever?
First of all, give that award to Travis Steele. You don't win. You don't go undefeated in the regular season, and incredible job. And again, he'd tell you the same thing. The reason you're up for awards is because of the people you're surrounded with. But that makes it hard. It does make it hard, but like, life's hard, right? And I think you have to switch your focus. When you think life is going to be easy, and then something hard hits you, you're in for big trouble. And we celebrate the great moments, but we're prepared for the hard. And now I do think it's crap. Absolutely, I think it's crap. There is I don't know what kind of syndicated show we're on here, so I'll watch my language here. But there's a lot of crap going on. There's a lot of crap going on in our profession. I love Brian Hodgson the other day from South Florida saying the same. If you look, back probably a month, 6 weeks ago, I said something very, very similar on our local radio station. Like these agents are not every one of them, right? A lot of great people out there, a lot of great agents, but there's a lot of sharks and snakes that are in our kids' DMs, and they think they know better of what it takes. And the irony to me is these guys do and attack our process every day, and great things happen, and then all of a sudden somebody wants to slide in and tell them what to do, and usually they have no clue what's going on. But some of that is above my pay grade. Obviously we got to get some guardrails back in this profession, but there's a lot of purity in some of the things too, and we're in March. We're excited to be a part of March, and once the season's done, the reality or the sad reality, we're going to have to quickly figure it out again. Does that make it hard? Does that make it challenging? Yeah. But, like I say, bring on the hard, bring on the challenge.
27-7, the Bison this year. That is a school record for wins. Had 26 3 other times. Damari Wheeler-Thomas, coach, I want to get back to your actual team in this tournament. And you mentioned kind of getting the offense going. You lead your team in scoring. Do you go out of your way to find him more touches? Do you have different conversations with him about maybe trying to get going in a different way to get the ball in the bucket a little bit faster?
He's a dog. He's a DAWG. He's just a warrior on both ends of the floor, explosive athlete. And because of his time here last year, he ended up redshirting basically because of an injury. He spent some time and in the lab, as the kids say, and he's been in there repping his shot. And yeah, do we have specific actions to get Mari some touches and put him in some late game situations to be successful for us? Absolutely. But I think sometimes the beauty of our team and the beauty of our offense right now is it's a little bit of a free for all, and I don't know where it's going to come from, and the guys don't know where it's going to come from, and thus our opponent doesn't know where it's come from, and it goes back to we've had 17 assists and a half this year. You look at the biggest play, in the conference tournament, Damari gets feet in the paint, kicks it out to Travion Carson. Travion makes a selfless play, and Noah Feddersen hits a big dagger three to end it. And so, Damari has a unique, explosive ability to make plays. And a lot of times then as a coach, you just take the leash off. You don't want to hamstring him. You just let him run. You just let him go. And fortunately for us, again, he prioritizes winning.
Coach, you mentioned a little bit of a free-for-all there. I imagine that's referencing some of your offensive style. How much more attractive does that make it to guys who want to come play for you or guys that are currently playing for you?
Well, I hope it makes it really attractive. And it's something that we talk a lot about, where you want to be great. You want to be a pro. Well, you got to be basketball players. I think some of these, I watch a lot of college basketball, and you got multiple guys just sitting in a corner. You got this guy that, we want guys that can pass, catch, and shoot it. Our 5 men, and I just referenced it. One of them, Noah Feddersen, hit a huge three. They both hit threes in the conference championship game. They're basketball players. They're not position. And as you watch and you go up higher and higher, it's positionless basketball. How many multiple things can you do on both ends of the floor? What is your versatility to guard multiple positions? What is your versatility to handle the ball and make decisions? I was talking to an assistant at Mark Adams actually a while back. He used to be an assistant at Texas A&M Texas Tech, and he's like, if you can pass, you can play. I'm like, what do you mean by that? That doesn't make sense. If you can pass, you can play defense. If you can pass, you can play. And I started to think back to all the guys that have been around, and it's just that feel for the game, that understanding of the game, the understanding of angles and the anticipation. And so we're looking for basketball players that want to continue to grow.
I love that. If you can pass, you can play. I feel like that's applicable, and not just in basketball, a lot of sports too, just kind of in general. Coach, great conversation. Thank you so much. We really appreciate the time. Wish you the best of luck in the tournament, and would love to do this again soon.
Anytime, gentlemen. Appreciate you having us on.
Yes, sir. Thank you. David Richman, head coach for the North Dakota State Bison. I'd play for him
all day.
He's kind of got the lingo down too. He's like a little bit like hip with the kids, like
DAWG.
Yeah, getting in the lab, getting his work in.
I love it.
I'm a fan.
And honestly, he's one of the perfect examples of what you root for this time of year and why we always have on coaches like Coach Richman in the days leading up to the tournament. I mean, it's a great opportunity for them to go showcase their program. And now I think most people that just listen to that conversation will be rooting for North Dakota State. How could you not be?
I would be.
I mean, goodness gracious. We root for North Dakota State regardless.
How about
in
the
all
style of play
sports.
on offense, too? A little bit of a free-for-all?
Yeah.
We don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah. Well, just reading up about him and doing some due diligence leading up once we saw that he was going to be on the air, man, like they're good. And they start shooting it from three. Like in the conference tournament, they're at 45%. You start hitting 45% from the field, I don't care how good the defense is on the perimeter. You start shooting 45% on the field, it doesn't matter what the talent gap is. Like, that's a possession and a half that you can eliminate immediately from an analytics standpoint. So, like, it's pretty dang sporty. You get going like that.
Yep, I would agree. All right, so that's a little bit of March Madness, a little bit of NCAA tournament talk. We'll talk Alabama with Charlie Potter at 9. More on the NCAA tournament next right here on Jocks. We may need to have that conversation on air to see if anybody else has any idea what's going on. I hate to throw first world problems at folks, but nonetheless, great conversation on March Madness. I think we're all rooting for North Dakota State now.
I am. And I usually root for Izzo.
Screw you, Izzo.
I root for Izzo usually because he's friends with Coach Saban, and I feel like Coach Saban and Coach Izzo are very similar.
I just like Tom Izzo.
I've always loved him.
Yeah.
But part of the reason why I do love him is because I feel like he's like the basketball version of my coach. So I align with that.
Well, I've loved his teams too. Outside of Mateen Cleaves, I've always loved Michigan State teams. We all have those guys in March Madness that we hate, right? Like, they're the villains of March Madness are there every year.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I don't know. Like
Marshall Henderson, whoever else, like maybe a Big Country Reeves for some reason. Like, there's always guys that people hate. The Fab Five.
The Fab Five were very
Christian
hateable.
Leitner's a great one.
Christian Leitner,
Duke in general for a lot of people.
Wow.
I despise Mateen Cleaves.
Really?
Just like fake ankle injury, doing the Roger Rabbit. Like, he's doing the Roger Rabbit after his ankle injury. It's like, I thought you couldn't walk. I mean, I guess that is just kind of basketball players in general.
I mean, pretty much Kobe towards ACL and hit free throws.
Like, you get fouled, and then all of a sudden, like, bring the stretcher out, and then all of a sudden, oh, he can walk again.
The guys that die on the court, like Paul Pierce, get carried off and then come back revamped is pretty impressive.
But outside of him, I have been a fan of his teams, his players, how they play. So, speaking of how teams play in March Madness, John, there's a reason that some of our listeners might want to pay attention.
Absolutely, and that is $1 million because the $1 Million Bracket Challenge is back at Jocks, presented by Twin Peaks. Pick a perfect bracket, win $1 million. It's that simple. Hit 60 games and score $10,000. The top local bracket will get $250 for Twin Peaks gift cards and a Stardom Comedy Club couples package. Enter by Thursday at 10:59 a.m. at jocksfm.com.
All right, so following on my latest tweets in, if Coach wins, no one will give a damn how many tweets he makes. He can hire someone to play on Twitter and Facebook. Did we portray that as Alex Golis needs to be doing more on Twitter, or that people are disappointed he's not doing anything on Twitter? I don't feel like we went there with that.
Oh gosh.
Did we?
I just can't sometimes. Sometimes I just can't.
That's twice in one show.
I just can't. If we never said anything, I said it's just been for it being a new year, new players, new team, new coach. It's just been remarkably quiet. Doesn't make it bad.
It's actually really
different.
good.
Like, it's just different than what we're used to. Usually I feel like these coaches come in and go scorched earth, and it's like you become everybody's enemy. I don't know. It's really hard. It's really hard for me to tell you what they're going to be. I haven't heard enough to draw conclusions. Doesn't make it bad. Just means it's hard to dial in.
I just don't think there's any negative at all. I think it's good that he has avoided trying to, and I don't think he's intentionally trying to avoid raising expectations, but I think he's very much a realist. And the last thing he's going to do is go out and try to overinflate what his certain players or team or parts of his team are going to be. He knows this is a little bit of an uphill battle, and he doesn't have a problem with that, by the way. Has no issue with it. But I think his answer to that is, I got to go get to work. And I got to go figure out ways that we can recruit better, more consistently.
Yeah.
I got to figure out ways that we can help our players be better individually as a unit, position groups, offense, defense. And I think that's what he's been focused on. And I think he's been highly focused on it.
Sure.
And it has not been, how many interviews can I do? How many public appearances can I do? How can people see me more?
Yeah.
I don't think he cares about any of that. He never has.
Correct.
And so that's why I think what Greg is saying is a compliment of, it's been quiet because it hasn't been a marketing campaign. And a lot of coaches that we have seen have been that. And that's not always bad. We use Cignetti as a perfect example of that can actually work to the top of the mountain.
For sure.
Literally. So, but that's just not Golis' style.
It's not. Doesn't make it bad. Doesn't make it good. Doesn't make it anything. Just means that it's been quiet. I mean, I didn't realize that everyone was going to panic over over us saying it's been for it being a whole new team. It's been a quiet offseason.
And that's good.
It's not bad. We've talked more about Kentucky than we have Auburn in some cases. Like Kentucky, I feel like has had a very loud and boisterous offseason. Texas had a very loud, boisterous offseason. Like there's been a bunch of louder offseasons, just been kind of quiet. Even when Byron Brown signed up, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, we expected that. You know what I mean? It's just been kind of quiet. That's all it is. Doesn't mean it's bad. Doesn't mean it's good.
No, there are a lot of people that say he's a top 5 quarterback in the league right now, which I think that's a tough rank based on multiple factors. Health being one, experience on certain team being 2, not his health, but health of others. So like Sam Levitt should probably be top 5. Is he top 5 right now? I don't even know when he's going to practice again.
Yeah.
Hard to put him in the top 5 when you haven't played for that team, you haven't played in the SEC, and by the way, you're not able to practice currently. You may slide out of my top 5 at that point. We'll talk Alabama, both basketball and football, with Charlie Potter next right here on Jocks.